Welcome to Love, Lust, and Lies, and I am your host, Ken Canion. And on today's show, we're going to talk about 5 dating turnoffs that disgust men. Now, you might say, well, they disgust women too. Yes, but this show is geared toward women, not men. All right? Just so you know, I do coach men too. I just dedicated this show because I felt like there were things that women needed to know that they didn't know, and I wanted to be the conduit to help them learn things that they didn't know so they could have better relationships, so they could live, love, and laugh. All right, y'all. So I wanted to do this topic because I got an inbox from one of my potential clients. And she simply asked the question. She said, Ken, tell me the things that turn men off, because a lot of times we as women, we really don't know. And I thought about it and I said, you're absolutely right, because a lot of things that women do turn men off. The man may not tell you that. And I'm sure there are a lot of things that we do that turn you off. But since this is my show and I'm going to do it that way. All right. Now, I wanted to do this because people will never tell you what turns them off or on, especially early in the dating phase. And what is happening is I am helping my clients right now meet people online. I am helping them change their brand. I'm helping them put up different pictures, take different pictures, put up different messaging. And because it's just like a brand in a store, every brand has a message. They have colors, they have aesthetics that they put out that they want you to know. So your brand is putting out, every one of us is a personal brand. Every single one of us is a personal brand. And what a brand is nothing more than a mental imprint, a mental perception that others have about your value system. A mental imprint that others have about your value system. When you think of Target, you call it Target. You know, the low price designer discount store. They have a brand. So Target is not Walmart, but Target is also not Macy's. And so what you do is when their name flows, you have a thought in your mind of who they are, just like anybody else. So when you're in a relationship, people have a thought, they have a thought or a perception, a mental imprint about you, about the messaging you're putting out, about everything. One of my clients is over 60. And I told her recently, I said, the truth is that men over 60 want love too. You make the assumption that they want someone younger than you. Why do you make that assumption? Because that is a limiting belief that you have. All of us have limiting beliefs inside of us that cause us to behave in a certain way. And these limiting beliefs, unless we address them, we're going to keep perpetuating those beliefs, thus behaving based on those beliefs. But those beliefs are not going to get you what you desire. And so I desire every single day to provide you with information, motivation, and inspiration that can direct you in the path that you want to go and to attract the relationship of your dreams. All right, that's why I do that. So today I want to give you 5 things that turn men off. Okay, they not only turn men off, 5 dating things, dating turnoffs that disgust men. They're actually disgusting to me. And we do it all the time. So let me jump right in to what they are. Okay, so I created this list of 5. Now, there are more, but however, I wanted to start with 5 because I wanted to give you an idea of what men don't like, and they won't say it. Primarily, all they do is they won't say it. They'll just move on. And you too. So the first one is things that men can't stand is a woman, you're dating someone, a woman who is addicted to her phone. Addicted to her phone. That's number one. The reason why this is important is because, you're on a date. My wife and I went to a restaurant recently, and I said, honey, look around. Look around at the people in the restaurant. Now, this was before COVID. This wasn't during COVID. This was before COVID. I said, look at everybody on their phone. They're not even talking to the other person. They're on their phone. We are consumed by our phones. But the truth is, the phone is a distraction. The phone is creating a barrier between people actually connecting and gaining intimacy. I've told you before, intimacy is not sex. Intimacy is communicating, connecting on a deeper level by asking questions about the other person. And so when you're addicted to your phone, everybody that texts you, you answering. Everybody that that calls you, you're answering. So my wife and I, when we go out to a restaurant, we don't use our phones. We don't turn our phones over because we want to listen to each other, y'all. You cannot create an intense connection with distractions around. And the biggest distraction that we have is our phones. And so you've been out to people. I was even in a business meeting once, and the person just kept checking their phone. I got so irritated. I was like, well, you know what? The truth is, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I didn't say it directly like that, but I came up with every excuse. I'm like, I am done. I'm gone. And so, y'all, you have to be cognizant about this and using your phones. See, social media companies, you know what they do? They hire behavior specialists, behavior psychologists to understand how you operate. They know there are certain things that you do on a daily basis that gives you dopamine rushes. These dopamine rushes keep you coming back for that phone over and over and over again. And so when you're in a relationship, that is a huge turnoff, especially to a man. It invites you out more than likely he's spending, sometimes he's not. He's spending the money on you, and he doesn't have you, you're captive. You're not a captive audience. He didn't have your attention. And so that's the first thing. Be careful when you're around anybody, not just in the company of somebody romantically, but if you're in a relationship with anybody, it's a turnoff. All right. Number two, second thing that disgusts men, that dating turnoffs that disgust men. Oh man, this is good. And when I wrote it down, I was like, yes. Okay, here it is. All right. And I want to read it exactly from the paper. Fighting in an attempt to create connection. Fighting in an attempt to create connection. What do I mean by that? You ever notice, you ever been around people, no matter what it is, it's always a fight. It's always adversarial. It's always a problem. You're back and forth. And some people do that because of this. And it's a diagnosis, y'all, but some people feel like the more you argue, the more you care about them. The more you're engaged in an argument, the more you defend your position. Well, you didn't call me. Well, I was working. I wanted to call you. The more you defend your position, on some strange level, they believe that you care about me more when you are arguing with me. However, men don't like arguing. Especially with our women, we get enough of that at the barbershop arguing over the game. We get enough of this out here in the streets, just being black and walking out here and wondering if somebody's going to discriminate against us. So you don't want to come home and or be in a relationship where somebody's always beefing about something. You ever been around people? It does not matter what's going on. You can do a million things great. However, you do one thing that might not be so great. They don't remember all of the other things that you did that edified them, that magnified the relationship, that made the relationship better, made your connection better, but they remember the one thing. And that's a problem. And so men, whether you know it or not, they do not like arguing. They don't want to argue. They don't want to, especially argue with the lady that they love. And so it's a problem. All right. And that's number two. So listen, if you find yourself always arguing and the arguing has become toxic. You have to ask yourself this question. Number one, what's the root cause of our argument? What is the root cause of why we continually argue? Why we can't get along? The only time we can get along is when we're doing it. The only time we can get along is when we having sex or when we sleep. That's a problem. All right. And the truth is we need to address that. The third thing is insecurity in a relationship. All right. So let me share with you something. Men don't, every time do you love me? Do you still care? Tell me you love me. Tell me. See, and what's happening is you're looking for assurance and you're looking for affirmation and validation in the relationship. But you're looking outside yourself for that validation, that affirmation. And so a man should not bear that responsibility. When you're insecure, now we all have some insecurities. True. That's so true. Even men. We all have, I talked about it the other day, we all have insecurities. Some of us have insecurities about our body. Some of us have insecurities about our speech, the way we communicate. Some of us have insecurities about how much money we make. But we all have them. The problem is when those insecurities have become toxic. They become toxic, and they infuse themselves inside the relationship where you always need reassurance. Where were you? Okay, where'd you go? How long did you stay? I thought you only stayed over your mom. I thought it only took you 15 minutes to get over to your mom's house. I thought that you got off work an hour ago. I stopped by Walmart. Is that okay? And so insecurity is insidious, y'all. And so here's the way I would say addressing insecurity. What I would say is this, and I help somebody do this. I would say, tell your partner, hey, listen, in my last relationship, every time the person never came home from work, they were out cheating. And that has caused me to believe certain things that may or may not be true. I'm just being honest with you. And all I would like for you to do is work with me on that particular area of our relationship. If you were that honest and you said those things in a way that the other person, they don't think it's an indictment on their character, but it's because of your past memory hoarding. As Milani Shani says, that's memory hoarding, a part of your memory where you've hoarded these thoughts and they don't serve you anymore. And so now, because you've hoarded these thoughts, you believe that everybody's like that. So as soon as you spot something that looks somewhat like that, then you begin to think, oh snap, he out there cheating again. Oh snap, he's not coming home. And the truth is, it's based on insecurity. Now listen, I'm not saying you crazy. If you see signs that a person is being unfaithful, don't disregard the red flags. I'm not talking about that. There is a difference between me seeing red flags and me thinking about my past and seeing something that maybe you're doing that reminds me of my past. Those are two different things. Those two things are very, very different. But you have to be honest with yourself and you have to analyze what it is. You have to say what it is, and you got to be transparent and authentic enough to say, here's what happened to me. Here's what I believe about it. And I want to think better. I want to feel better. I don't want to think this. So I'm simply saying, here's where I am. Y'all, I tell you, that will go a long ways. Number four, the fourth thing, dating turnoffs that disgust men. Number 4 is gossiping. Gossiping like you're a teenager. Gossiping about someone else's demise. Gossiping and hating on somebody else. Men, you know what? We might hate on somebody. We might. We do from time to time. There are men who I've heard that don't like what I do. Okay. But what men do, they're not talking to their women about, they're not gossiping with their women about what hating on me. So what I'm saying is, it does not look good. It does not serve you when you are gossiping, when you are hating on somebody else, because when you derive pleasure from someone else's demise, that doesn't look good. That's not a good look at all. And a man may not tell you this, but men don't like that. They do not like a whole bunch of gossiping. They don't like a whole bunch of, now I'm not going to lie. Every now and then my wife will tell me something. Did you know? I'm like, know what? Now she might tell me, but after she tells me, okay, that's it. All right, man, I ain't know that. For real? Okay, that's it. I'm not going around. I'm not telling my friends, and I'm not saying, hey, did you know such and such was hitting such and such? That's not my business. I don't really care. I'm not that anyone. And if you are with your friends gossiping about other people and he hears it and he hears that constantly, that is a huge, let me say it again, huge turnoff. I'll tell you this story about this guy. He was telling me that he was in a relationship with this female and he liked the female. He really did. He heard the female talking about other people, okay, early on in his dating career. But here's what happened to him. He began to believe that if she'll talk about people that are close to her about that, she'll talk about me. Ding, 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 ding. Got back to him that he had told one of his girlfriends who told her dude that his wee-wee wasn't that big, okay? Devastated him. And he couldn't stay with her. And she was like, well, what is that all about? I mean, I didn't mean it in a bad way. Okay, what way did you mean it? You told your friends that I had a little pecker. How did you mean that? Now, the dude was hurt. All right, the dude was hurt. He probably didn't handle it the right way, calling her names, but he was hurt. He was like, dog, I figured, but I should have thought about it because she would gossip and talk about everybody else. Even though I was dating her, she wasn't in love with me. And the truth is why would I think that it would be any different? Y'all, my wife told me something. And y'all tell me what y'all think about this. Is this true? My wife said, she said, okay, be careful because every woman is going to tell it. She said she is going to tell somebody. I don't care if she tells you, look, it's just me and you. We're going to do this thing or whatever. She is going to tell someone. And I was like, what? I said, because the truth is, there are things that I know that I will take to my grave. And that's the honest truth. Because somebody has told me something that my wife don't even know. Somebody has told me something and I'm not telling her. I'm not telling anybody. I will go to my grave with it. But she said, yep, somebody's going to know. And I'm like, what? Oh, is that true, y'all? Is that true? And she said, listen. They're going to tell their best friend, somebody, ultimately, because they can't keep it, especially if it's explosive news. I'm like, damn. All right. But that kind of stuff turns men off. And the last thing, definitely last, but not least, and I just put it last because I wanted to just use these last couple of minutes to go over this. Oh, the last turnoff, dating turnoff, and it can be a relationship turnoff that disgusts men, is simply non-stop complaining. Non-stop complaining. Complain. That's your middle name. If you find yourself complaining, now you might not think it's complaining. You simply might think I'm just expressing myself. Okay? I'm just expressing myself. Okay, I got that. But the question is, how does he perceive that? If the person you're communicating with perceives it as complaining, it's complaining. Think about it like this. I want you to think about this for a moment. If I say something to somebody that is offensive, I didn't mean it as offensive. I simply stated a fact. But the person took it as an offensive statement. Then it's offensive. Here's why. Because the receiver that's receiving the communication is the one that determines what the communication is and how they feel about it. You can't make a person feel a certain way about your communication. So if that person believes that the communication is complaining constantly, then that's something that it should be addressed. Maybe it should be addressed in how you deliver it. Maybe it should be addressed in when you deliver it. And then maybe it should be addressed in why you're delivering it. Because the truth is all of those things matter. But remember this, that in communication, there's a sender, there's a receiver. Who's always responsible for the message? The sender's always responsible for the message, because the sender is the one who sends the message to the other person. They want the other person to receive the message, number one, in the context in which they sent it. They want them to get the meaning behind it. So it's up to the sender to send the message in a way that the receiver can consume it. If he believes she's always complaining, and vice versa, if she believes he's always complaining about something, then either the message needs to change, when the message was delivered needs to change, or why the message was delivered. One or the other. So y'all, those are the 5 things, 5 dating mistakes, 5 dating turnoffs that disgust men. And I'm sure some of them discuss women as well. However, this show is geared toward women. Thank you for your time, energy, patience. Y'all, I appreciate it. I'm Ken Canion, the host of Love, Lust, and Lies. And until tomorrow, I'm